What is money? Money can be anything that can serve as a store of value, a unit of account, or a medium of exchange. History of money. We know that money has existed for a long time, but how people paid before money existed is an important question when talking about the history of money. When money didn't exist, the humans invented a way in which they can exchange goods and services. This process was called barter. At the beginning, they traded with things that sometimes didn't have the same value. After a while, they realized that they were losing out with the system, so they changed the way they done it. Afterwards, society and trade system evolved, and the first coins were made in the 17th century BC to pay the taxes. These were created by the Greeks in Lydia, nowadays known as Turkey, and they were made from a mixture of silver and gold, since in all the towns the gold was seen as the most precious metal and then followed by silver. The face of a monarch or a god was often stamped. The use of coins expanded. In Europe, the official coins were introduced in the year 1600 AC. The first banknotes were created in China in the 17th century, but they weren't official until the 812. Its main purpose was to carry more money, occupying less weight and space, and it was safer to carry a piece of paper which had the same value as several golden coins. In the 13th century AC, the traveler Marco Polo visited China and found out the existence of banknotes. Despite the Renaissance, which Marco Polo made reach Europe, this wasn't ready to implant banknotes. In the year 1661, Sweden started using banknotes, and Johan Paltruk, which was a banker, began issuing receipts representing the amount of gold that citizens put into their bank. It was the Bank of Stockholm. Thanks to the new system, they didn't need money deposit to make loans. Some years later, Palmstruck found a problem with the emission of banknotes more than the necessary guarantee, which led to a crisis of confidence and the bankruptcy of the entity. In Spain, banknotes appeared in the year 1780, during the reign of Carlos III. It became popular because it was easier to hide and carry. It wasn't until 1868 that the Spanish government established the peseta as the basic unit of the Spanish monetary system. It lasted for 130 years. In 1869, the first coins were minted, and they stopped it in 2001. During this time, the coins went through many changes. The first peseta banknote was emitted in 1874. In the same year, the Bank of Spain was granting exclusively for the issuance of banknotes. The euro coins and banknotes went into circulation in the 2002 along with the pesetas, but in the same year the euro changed to be the only legal tender. Another way we know to pay is the credit cards. It can sound like a modern invention, but its history goes back to 1949 in New York. A businessman called Frank X was in a restaurant, and when he was going to pay, he realized that he had left his money at home. That day, he thought of a way to pay without carrying physical money with him. 1 year later, in the 1950, the first credit card was created. At first, it was only used in some New York's restaurants, but later the Banks of America created one that could be used in any shop. This credit card is better known as Visa. This type of pay had been being used since then. On one way or another, the money will be always moving the world. We have learned that money had been always being developed, and maybe in the future we will find new ways for paying. But for now, I think that we will continue using it as we do.